Hey there, this is Tom with the Diogenes Lamp podcast. I appreciate you listening in, and most importantly, I hope you enjoy what you hear. Before we start with today's episode, I'm going to ask you for a small favor. Believe it or not, history podcasts, especially in their early stages, tend not to be cash cows. Shocker, I know. I too was blindsided by this news. Now, I didn't go into this for the money. I think that much is obvious. But unfortunately, books, research materials, and equipment aren't free. Please, go to patreon.com/Diogenes Lamp Podcast, and for less than the price of a coffee once a month, you can become a member and get access to bonus episodes, recommended reading lists and documentaries, shout-outs, and anything else we'll offer in the future as this project grows. If you are especially broke, hey, I get it, but please, make sure to give us a 5-star review when you listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to the pod on your preferred podcast listening medium. Your support is appreciated, and more importantly, it is needed in order to keep this operation going. On that note, I hope you have a great day, and now back to the show. The most important tool for a king of Greece is a suitcase. King George II. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Diogenes Lamp podcast. I don't know exactly what episode number this is, to be frank, actually.
We're just rolling
it's
along.
It's okay. Yeah, you'll see in the Spotify. The reason for that is that I don't know exactly the order yet. And I will explain all of that shortly. We'll get more into that. If you guys can tell, I got Basil on the mic. Back.
Hey-o.
Been a while. We didn't have you for a while there.
Happy to be here.
Yes, we're happy to have you back. I do have a title for the episode. Bread, Olives, and King Constantine. Greek Monarchism. That's it. So, hope you guys have been all right. Some updates on the pod, Basil. I think you'll be happy to hear some of this. I have some paying Patreons.
Excellent.
Yes, I want to give a shout out because I promised I would give a shout out to people. Shout out to Megas Yorgos, who is at the Zoarchos level, meaning he commands a squadron of elephants.
Excellent.
Yes, very much appreciated. And then we also have a paying member, Darth Mater. I assume it's something to do like Darth Vader, but Mater.
Clever. I like it.
Yes. So thank you guys. Also, we have another member on just like a follower on the Patreon, Jack Johansson, actually from the Secret Police podcast. Me and him have been talking a lot. We'll have some collaboration in the future. Another actually really solid podcast if you give it a listen, if you're at all into like want to hear the most obscene, terrible shit that you've heard like in weeks. It's worse than this podcast, honestly. It's like terrible. It's really brutal shit. It's like the KGB did this and like the Dina.
Terrible in that sense.
Yeah, it's a secret police podcast. It's literally about how the secret police of various countries would like torture people, and it's bleak. So give them a listen. On that note,
for that afternoon drive to work.
Nothing like that afternoon drive to work to hear about like how Dina in Chile was like training dogs to rape people. It's always great. Or throwing them out of helicopters and
what the. Well, welcome. Regardless, we're so happy to have everybody.
We're so happy to have you here. Yeah, and if you can, it's like the cost of coffee a month, guys. It really makes a huge difference for us. We don't get paid. We're not running a profit, even with we're like 95%. We're 5% of the way of breaking even on our basics to keep this running. So like cost of a coffee a month, it really makes a huge difference. There will be small gifts, stuff like recommended reading lists, access to bonus episodes early, other episodes that you just will be Patreon only. It'll be a while before that gets built out. So for the time being, it is honestly from the goodness of your hearts, and we really do appreciate it. And this project will continue to be built out, so we appreciate it. Let's get into it, Basil.
Let's go.
That's right. We're rubbing those hands. So a few housekeeping things first. I want to cover some things that I kind of got wrong in the last couple episodes. Not about wrong, but I want to cover them anyways. And I was skeptical about pointing these out, even like they're pretty minor mistakes, to be honest. But I wanted to follow the great examples of great podcasters like Mike Duncan. Robin Pierce is okay too. One time I didn't hear him specify specifically about if Alexander the Great was from the region of Macedonia or from the country of Macedonia. This is before the Prespes Agreement. So I don't know. He may be on my shit list. But the History of Byzantium is also another great podcast. And Mike Duncan, of course, is a legend and huge inspiration for this podcast. I've seen them unashamedly announce when they made small mistakes here and there. So I was like, I definitely can if they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For
in
sure.
advertising, we call that a retraction. So
retraction, you call that?
Yeah, when you make a mistake.
Do you put like an asterisk on the whatever?
No, you just you publish it in the next, like if it was a newspaper ad, you publish it in the next one. You say, last time we screwed up this. Sorry.
Retraction. You go like that?
Correct.
I'm just being annoying now. I'm sorry. So let's talk about these retractions, okay? Remember that dog that got in a scuffle with the monkey?
Yes.
Okay, Fritz, right? Let's talk about Fritz. Was he a wolfhound or a German shepherd? Conflicting sources have said different things. So just wanted to point that out, that depending who you read, he may be a German shepherd, he may be a wolfhound. Wolfhound, from what I've seen, is a little bigger than a German shepherd. Anyways, he was a good boy, nonetheless. May have not cost Greece Constantinople.
A lot of pressure to put on a dog.
But good point. It's a lot of pressure to put on a dog. And monkeys freak me out too. So whether it was his fault, the monkey's fault, whatever. Running down the list, I know my pronunciation's been off. Greek is a difficult language. You could attest, Basil. Not easy. So for a podcast entirely in English, we're supposed to have this marketed towards non-Greeks because there's a bigger market to non-Greeks, believe it or not, than actual Greeks.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you may ask, what's the big deal if that's the case? It's all in English anyways. Sure. But aside from having seen how annoyed people get when you mispronounce their names, there's a bigger reason and why I want to point all this out, and that's because in Greek, there are very large consequences for saying things.
I just lit up, yes.
Yeah, for saying things the wrong way. For example, we know, of course, the infamous malaka, softly, malaka, chronic masturbator. Another good one, Nephi, bride. Nymphi, nympho.
Yeah, that's tricky. Moni and Moni.
Oh, that's another good one. I didn't think about that. Only in pussy.
Yes, that's very close.
Jeez. Or only, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's nuts. Another good one, Ramo, wedding. Then the other one. Ramo, fuck. I swear these are old ancient Greek words, right? Because it's back then, wife, nympho, wedding, sex.
Correct.
Malaka, I don't know. There's no connection there. But
something about soft is probably there.
Yeah, something soft. I assume so. But you get the point. Pronunciation does matter.
To build on that, just because the pronunciation might be off just based on how quickly you're talking or because of maybe your experience or whatever, it doesn't negate your knowledge in the subject.
I appreciate
so important
that. That is true. I mean, that is a good point, guys. We read a lot on this.
Because if you were non-Greek and this was your passion, and just because your pronunciation was off a little bit, That doesn't negate like your schooling or your
That's a good
passion
point.
or anything like that.
No one would think twice about it, but because we're Greek, everyone's going to shit on us.
Correct.
Right.
Even the fact that we're talking about it in English is probably peeving people,
Yeah. That's a very good point, actually.
So
That's a very good point. His name is... It's not this. It's like, dude, what do you want?
Like you knew who we were talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Keep listening.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the constant struggle of being a Greek American, is your Greekness is constantly like up for debate.
Yeah. Even our American accents differ between us two and affect how we talk.
That's a good point.
I literally just realized 3 days ago that I've been pronouncing the word ugly in Greek wrong my entire life.
What is it? Asking me?
Yeah, but my family would say askimo, like with a K, not we'd say askimo, not aschimo.
Yeah,
so
with a K
I
instead
asked
of
my
the
dad,
H.
and he would just be like repeating it, and I'm like, "Is there? I don't hear the H. I don't hear the H." He's like, "Yeah, it's askimo. It sounds like askimo." I'm like, "Okay, well, it's good to know."
That's the diaspora. It really is. Half of us are just swimming, like finding out on our own.
Correct.
In the deep end sometimes.
Correct.
I the other day, what was it? I was trying to be fancy with my wife, which my wife is like native Greek, and I was trying to be like, she said something, I was like, yeah, εγώ είμαι anomalos. I'm an anomaly. Because I was like, anomaly. It must be a Greek word. It turns out it actually means pervert in Greek. Because I was like, like the A thing, typical, atypikos, typical, thanatos, death, athanatos, immortal. It's the same in Greek and English. You had the A in the front, and it negates everything, right? So I was like, okay, like clearly this is a Greek word. Sorry, let me rearrange this. It's a Greek word, all right. It just does not mean what I wanted it to mean.
Jeez, I would have loved to have seen her reaction to that.
Here's another really good one, Basil, you'll like. We were walking outside one time, like, it's Florida, and unfortunately there's just homeless people everywhere. It's really sad and it sucks. And sometimes homeless people, which are often under great amounts of stress, yell out really loudly. And I was like, she's like, what was that? I was like, oh, I don't know, Dinksero, and astakos. I don't know, some astakos. What I meant to say was astagos, which means homeless person. What I said was lobster. Yes, exactly. You do it. Astakos. Just like you said, right? With a K instead of like a G.
Right.
Afta file.
Did you realize it right away?
No, I thought I was saying it correctly, of course. I was 100% sure. My Greek is flawless. What don't you understand?
Exactly.
It's like those Greek Americans that are like, no, gala, yan, papu, and then they'll like have the audacity to be like, yeah, I'm fluent. Or like, that's another good one. Like, I can understand it, I just can't speak it. It's like, bullshit.
Right.
You failed Greek school just like I did. They passed everyone, but we really failed. Don't bullshit me.
The truth behind Greek school.
Yeah, I know. It's a racket. It's just a MLM, actually, is what it is. Just to funnel money.
I only got 1 year of Greek school because we moved too far away from the church. So I didn't get full experience.
It's not worth driving more than like a half hour, I'll tell you that much. I learned. The one good thing I will say about Greek school is you learn to read and write.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the only really big thing I walked away from. Everything else I learned Greek on my own, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, you want to get into it?
Sure. Now that we've had our little gossip session.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So, some other small things. On episode 4, I stated something along the lines of Plastiras did this coup to save the Republic. Highly debatable. I think you've picked this up by now, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners have as well, but like, I don't want to frame Republicans as above dictatorships by any means. Just because the name Republican is in their name does not necessarily mean like one thing or another. I think you guys got that by that point. Like, we've already seen authoritarian flirtations that Venizelos often had. Think about Republican generals like Condilis before he went monarcho-fascist. Pangalos, a Republican, had a dictatorship. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's an ideology, it has a Republican in it, but it's ran by people People can be ambitious, greedy, dumb, proud, right? Everything in between. You guys get it. Here's something else. This is another good one. Episode 5, I believe, when we were talking about Metaxas sleeping with German women when he had his time in Berlin, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned he was sleeping with married German women, okay? Retraction. He was not. This is a good one. He did have a lady friend, though, who got engaged, asked Metaxas if she and him could remain friends. To which Metaxas replied, and we know this from his diary, by the way, quote, "Friends, to what end? I don't like the friendship of women."
Oh my God. Sounds, unfortunately,
Kind of like
yeah.
Metaxas in the early 1900s, yeah.
On brand.
Mind you, people today would kind of, I mean, you could see that today, actually. The guy was actually,
in the Instagram comment sections.
He was ahead of his time, Basil, actually. He was
a manosphere, a manosphere of, I can't even say it, like a template for the manosphere.
That's it.
Oh, God.
That's what he was all about. That and restoring the Hellenic Empire. Pretty much. They go hand in hand, really, if you put the two together. So yeah, now that I've covered all that stuff, let's get into what today's episode is all about. What really lit a fire under my ass to write this reprimer series, because that's what we're about to have, spoiler alert, was what you said during one of the primers, or during like 2 episodes on Metaxas's life. So you are the inspiration, Basil, for this today.
I'm glowing with pride.
You should. That's awesome. I'm happy. I can see it through this camera. I wish the listeners could as well. So something I mentioned, Metaxas talking about the monarchy and like his linkage to ancient kings and Byzantium. And then you were like, aren't they not even Greek? I don't know if you remember that. Right. And I forgot what I said, but it was something like wishy-washy. Like, not so much because like I didn't know the royals weren't ethnically Greek, but because it's like you get into that, that's like a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to save it for today. Well, for the next couple of weeks, because I got a lot. So that's what we're talking about today, guys, is the royals. It's the royals, the Greek monarchy. You combine the need for that with the fact that we're about to enter like the official Greek civil war, where like, you know, the left and the right really start killing each other and stuff like that. I thought it'd be important to go over each and every ideology, force, like character, player, person, whatever you want to call them, or what, that will clash in the civil war. Monarchists, of course, as I'm sure you can gather, will be one of those ideologies that will be like a force at play and whatnot. So, I took the title of today's episode from a well-known phrase that is sometimes used by the people of the Mani Peninsula to signify, as you could guess.
You're glowing.
Glowing. Shocker. Can't believe it. To signify their tradition of monarchism when it comes to politics. Magnatas are kind of known as like diehard royalists. So like that chant, bread olives, King Constantine, it sounds kind of like psomi elia ke kotso vasilia. Like again, olives or bread, olives, King Constantine. In sum, as a Magnati or anyone who's like a diehard royalist, these are the only 3 things you need in life, right? Bread, olives, King Constantine. Many other political and societal movements have kind of adopted this cadence, right? For example, I'll show you some other ones. Psomi, pedia, eleftheria, bread, education, freedom. That was chanted by the heroic students of the Polytechnic University in Athens. The event where a tank literally crushed dozens of students who were protesting the junta dictatorship that ended in 1974.
Yikes.
Yeah. Then, taking a complete opposite turn politically, you might also be familiar with the more recent use of this rhyme by the far-right neo-Nazi former party, now outlawed criminal organization Golden Dawn, Chryssi, who changed the chant to Emma Timi, Chryssi, which translates to blood, honor, Golden Dawn.
Yikes.
Nice. Yeah, yikes. Eek. Eek. And And lastly, some of the listeners may have heard their younger cousins, nephews, sons, daughters, whatever, chanting this last one. Psomi, brizola, Coca-Cola. Steak, or bread, steak, like pork chops and Coca-Cola.
Tasty.
Yeah. A rallying cry we can all get behind, I think.
That one I can get behind, yeah.
What do you mean you're not with the Golden Dawn, Blood Honor, and does that one not your cup of tea, Basil?
It's like so... what do I want to say? It's so interesting how people get riled up by words and then they just fall right into...
Yeah, like lemmings over a cliff.
Correct.
Just throw the word blood, honor, and then boom. It's like, let's commit a genocide.
Correct.
You said the magical, the algorithm.
The algorithm.
The human genocide algorithm has been activated.
Oh, no.
Let's get on it. What? Did someone chant something about blood and honor? What? Blood and soil, right? Famously.
Yep, purity.
Yeah. I mean, thank God they banned them. They're now a criminal organization. Irony that groups like the KKK still operate here, but whatever. Freedom of speech is a whole nother conversation. Pros and cons. We'll get into that another day. Sorry if we got a bit off topic there. Let's get back to it. Let's start with the first king of Greece, and primarily the dynasty. So we're gonna let me put it this way. So today we're going to primarily talk about the dynasty that started with King George I in 1863, aka the Glucksburgs, but we'll also cover briefly the very first king of the modern Greek state, King Otto the Bavarian. The Greek state came into being in 1832 at the Treaty of Constantinople after the Turco-Egyptian fleet was destroyed in Navarino by the great powers of Russia, Britain, and France, yada yada, you know all this stuff, right? Shortly after, King Otto of Bavaria of House Wittelsbach became the first king of the new Greek state. A big reason for choosing a king from Bavaria was because Bavaria had no major ties to any of the big three powers, right? France, Britain, and Russia. You know, I always wonder that because, like, why would you have a king from tiny Bavaria?
Right. And they decided that.
They decided that.
Interesting.
Because, like, you know, like you have, like, a British king, the Russians and the French are going to be pissed off.
Right. But even, like, you know, on the Russian side, you would think that they were, like, the people who said they wanted to defend the orthodoxy in Europe. You would have thought, like, they would have pushed harder for that. But I guess because of what you just said.
Right. Then if you put a Russian guy, then the British are going to be pissed off, you know?
Interesting.
Great power politics, right?
That seems very, like, progressive of them to, like, not act in their own interests.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was just the best, like, compromise you could come with. It's like, if you're not going to get this strategic, tiny new state that's eating away at the carcass of the Ottoman Empire, then by golly, I'm not, and you're not, none of us are, you know? So, yeah. And let's keep in mind also, like, at this point in the Greek state, that the three most dominant parties in parliament were literally the French, the Russian, and the British parties. Like, those were literally the names of the parties. Because they were just the great powers that freed Greece. So, you know, it's a different time. King Otto would do his best to, like, manage the tiny state, but his rule becomes mostly known as a Bavarocracy, or rule by Bavarians, is what they were calling it. There were a lot of changes done, like establishing a military to clamp down the warlords and militia bands, move the capital to Athens instead of Nafplio, severely curtail press freedom, sentence leading war heroes of the revolution, most notably Kolokotronis, to death. Right? Crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, there's a story. I mean, I know I shouldn't fire off things from the hip, so I could be totally wrong on this, full disclosure. But I think there's a story where he gets sentenced to death, and the judge says you'd have to, like, cut my hands off before I sign off on this, on Kolokotronis, because, you know, it's fucking Kolokotronis.
Right. We're talking about him.
Yeah. So, yeah, King Otto's reign ended in 1843 when a coup backed by the politicians and others carried out by the military removed him from power. But, like, unlike other coups we've already covered in previous episodes, this coup wouldn't oust Otto as much as it would cut back on his power. And most importantly, which is one of the more significant driving forces of the entire thing, was the demand for a constitution. The demands were met. Otto stayed on the throne for now, and by 1844, a constitution had been fully drafted, and around this time, the first rumblings of the Megali Idea, the big idea, start to come to life, mostly from the very prominent politician Koletis. So just to state it more clearly, it's at this point that Greece becomes a constitutional monarchy. So let's take a little jump, skip over some other events like the Crimean War, the Don Pacifico affair in 1850, and finally in October of 1862, King Otto was ousted. This ousting of King Otto had some events leading up to it. For starters, the 1859 elections were rife with intimidation and interference, and in 1861, Queen Amalia was on the receiving end of a failed assassination attempt. It's the really famous red dress, the Amalia dress.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Very, like all the girls wearing, yeah. So that's where it comes from.
All the dance groups have something.
Yes, exactly. In October of 1862, the king and queen decided it was a great day to take a yacht tour of the Peloponnese. And by the time they got back, a revolutionary government had been proclaimed in Athens, and the British Royal Navy intercepted them before they returned. Don't you hate it when that happens on your yacht?
That's happened multiple times.
This cruise line's terrible. I'm never hiring these guys again.
Refund.
I'm not giving you guys a shout out on Instagram, that's for sure. None of my followers will hear about this.
Nope.
The king and his family left on a British ship. There were a lot of reasons why King Otto was ousted, but from what I've read, the biggest reasons were his authoritarianism and his not willing to give up power to a constitution. Also, him not converting to orthodoxy and him not having heir to the throne were other biggies. Right?
We'll do it.
Yeah. Like, you got to at least convert to orthodoxy. You're going to be a king of your subjects. Anyways. Thus ends the reign of King Otto and of House Wittelsbach as a dynasty. After a year or so of trying to choose a new king that would be in tune with what the great powers wanted, the Greeks settled on the 17-year-old Christian Ferdinand Adolphus George Glucksburg, the Prince of Denmark. I know, what a name.
And Greeks are a mouthful of names,
Yeah, let alone. This guy's got like 4 or 5 of them. So his sister would become the future queen of the United Kingdom. Just to show the connection, right? Through marriage. The Greeks decided that of the first 4 names he had, George would do just fine. And he was crowned as King George I of the Hellenes on October 31st, 1863, bringing the longest and still the current running dynasty onto the Greek political scene. The Glucksburgs. Any Greek royal you see today on the news or whatever is of this house. Like you see someone on CNN, it's like, oh my God, it's a Greek. They're supposed to say former king. Sometimes they don't do that because they're morons. That's who they belong to, this house, the Glucksburgs. They just changed their last name to like De la Grecia or some Spanish shit. I don't know why. And they're now recently also allowed to either get Greek citizenship or come back to Greece. Also, realizing how much it would help his legitimacy and image, King George converted to Greek Orthodoxy. So, upgrade.
Good on George.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think it'd be a no-brainer, right? As we'll see, King George I was more accommodating, let's say, to constitutionalism. A National Assembly decided that this time around, any monarch would have practically 0 rights over the Constitution itself, but King George was no dummy, and he made sure that this Constitution, the Constitution of 1864 specifically, would still grant him powers to do stuff like appoint prime ministers and some other leadership positions. Even so, though, yes, he was allowed to do that, but he still accepted, the primacy of the Constitution, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
As we're finding out in America today, there are many things a president can do that he usually does not. And you don't find out until he starts doing those things and you say, holy shit, he can do that? It's kind of like one of those things. So, yes, he was afforded these powers, but he still accepted the primacy of the Constitution as, this is it. Right?
Nice.
So again, we now have what we call a constitutional monarchy, or like a variation, a flavor of it anyways, right? In 1867, King George of the Hellenes married the Grand Duchess Olga Konstantinova of Russia, who was the niece of Tsar Alexander II, granddaughter of Tsar Nicholas I, and first cousin of Tsar Alexander III. So like well connected to the Romanov dynasty in Moscow, as you can see, right? King George and Queen Olga have 8 children, one of whom, Princess Olga, would unfortunately not make it past 7 months old. Luckily for King George I, as I'm sure you already gathered, Queen Olga was Orthodox, right, Russian, like thus making the political acceptance of her as queen much smoother as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Are you on your computer?
Hmm?
Are you on your computer?
Yeah.
Do you want to you want me to show you something?
You going to email it or send me a link? What do you want to do?
I'm going to text it to you. Obviously, it's relevant to what we're talking about. You can literally see the family tree.
I love family trees.
Dude, it's really cool. This is the official website. Do you watch the show The Crown?
No.
It has stuff with this. Well, we're going to talk about it.
This is cool.
Yeah. So the entire family tree, if you look at it, and I actually just sent it to Basil, and he's looking at it right now, and you guys can literally go to greekroyalfamily.gr, and like there's a royal family tree there. You'll have to like click around a little bit, but you can find it. As you can see, it goes far and wide across Europe with close connections to the royal families of Spain, Denmark, UK, yada yada, as you can see. Of those 7 children that made it to adulthood, 5 boys and 2 girls, of the ones that made it to adulthood, right? 5 boys and 2 girls. One would carry on the Glucksburg dynasty as ruler of the Hellenes, king of the Hellenes, that being King Constantine I. We're not getting into the other branches that led to royal couples like King Philip and Queen Elizabeth II of the UK, who King Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, by the way, was the son of Prince Andrew. Do you remember Prince Andrew? Remember from the Trial of the Six?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for the listeners that may have forgotten, Prince Andrew, he was in command of some forces in the Asia Minor campaign at the Battle of Sakaria, and he was charged at the Trial of the Six. He was supposed to be one of the people that was executed at the Trial of the Six because he disobeyed some direct orders on the battlefield. He was supposed to be executed. Due to British pressure, he was exiled from Greece instead. And if you're connecting the family tree, Prince Philip, who then becomes King Philip and marries Queen Elizabeth II of the UK, was the nephew of King Constantine I. The old queen that just died. Her husband. I don't know. I'm not like someone who especially. I'm a bad magnati. I don't especially love the royals. You know what I mean? We'll be getting a bit more into the Trial of the Six in a couple episodes from now. I've zoomed in on it. So which will be cool. It'll be very interesting. So, we have the reign of King George I of the Hellenes and Queen Olga. In the first year of the reign, the British literally gifted the Ionian Islands, the Heptanissa, to Greece. Corfu, Zakynthos, all the way out, all those ones up there. And from what I've read, it was partly as a gift, partly due to the islands being expensive to maintain, but also primarily because this is supposed to be a British promise to the National Assembly. National Assembly is like Parliament, that if they accepted their choice as king, that they would, in time, pass on the Ionian Islands as a blessing of sorts of the monarchy, like a wedding gift.
So generous of them.
It's a love and hate thing with the British, huh?
Right.
It really is. Oh man, I could say so many things right now, but it is such a love and hate thing with Greek history and the British. They're cool when they help, and then when they don't,
they fuck you over.
Yeah, they fuck you over. You took the words right on my mouth, Basil. Dicks. Yeah, I lost my shit on a British. Did I ever tell you this story? This is a side story, but it's kind of funny.
No.
We were on a honeymoon in Crete, and I was parking my car, and I found this crazy parking space. It was totally legal, but it was very tight. And right next to it, there was this movable no parking sign. It was half in Greek, half in English, right? This is right next to the anarchist lair, because there are these types of things. in Greece. It was like in Chania. It was like a no-go zone. It was like just a bunch of anarchists were there. I mean, you could go there. Of course, you could walk through it. Like, it's safe. But all the anarchists were there, right? So there were these two British dudes, and they're like, do you know if we can park there? And the one guy's pointing to the sign, and then his buddy is holding the sign like he's picking up, ready to move it. Because they saw me speaking Greek with someone else. They're like, oh, he's Greek American, whatever. And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, the sign's in English. Like, you can read what it says. They're like, yeah, but can we park here? I'm like, dude, read for yourself, man. I don't know. Like, what do you want from me? Like, to sanction, you know?
Right.
And at this point, he was like, oh, someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And I just lost my shit. I was like, Gami meni golo aglezi. I started swearing in Greek, and like the locals came out, or like all the anger from Cyprus came out in me from 1974. I was like, these fucking British. And then I do this podcast and I read about how British soldiers died in Greece, and I'm like, I was a dick. Like, he's like, was that really necessary?
I think you can still be mad at a British tourist once in a while.
Yeah, especially in Greece. They can be fucking annoying.
Yeah, especially considering you weren't alive when those things happened. So
I guess this is true. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good point, right?
So maybe moving forward.
Yes. Enjoy your time in Greece, you British tourists. Spend your money. Just try not to throw friends. That's right. Try not to throw up in the streets, ideally.
Yes.
No, there's a lot of good Brits, of course. We love them. So yeah, and like you guys know, those islands, Ionian Islands, are up on the border with Albania, that kind of thing. So those islands were gifted. The 20 or so years after the formal ousting of King Otto and immediately following the coronation of King George II is marked by significant political instability. Oh my gosh.
What a surprise.
Could you imagine? This is a good one, though. This is probably going to even exceed your expectations. There's something like 33 different governing administrations, unity or coalition governments, short-lived governments, yada, yada, in that time period.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah. Is that insane?
Like, at that point, it's probably with, like, a matter of weeks, like, a new one comes in.
Yeah, it's really, I'm serious. You're talking it's really a testament. I mean, listen, these guys just love democracy. Did you ever think of it that way?
You know, you're right. Everyone gets their say.
Everyone gets their say. So, 33 different governing administrations is obviously batshit. But yeah, and like it's easy to like immediately as well jump to stereotypes and whatnot of like unorganized Greeks or point to like incompetence.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like I did to a certain extent. Because like when you contrast this period of severe instability with the one we had already covered in the pod so far, you know, like post-Asia Minor to the 4th of August regime, without thinking it through, you would say like, yeah, well, the political instability post-Asia Minor catastrophe makes sense, but this doesn't, right? Like, this is my thinking anyways, guys. You may have not totally thought this at all. But this was also a very difficult time for Greece as well. It was a tiny state. The dying Ottoman Empire was still very much alive at this point, okay? Despite hindsight 2020, we're now like, it was dying. At the time, it was still very much alive if you were a tiny Greek state, I can assure you, okay? Greece was tiny, and it was boxed in on all sides by the comparably massive Ottoman Empire to its northeast and south, okay? State was saddled with debt. And again, going back to a map, it's not just that Greece was boxed in on three sides by the Ottomans, but also that there weren't any other independent European states in Southeast Europe for them to trade with or make relationships with.
Right.
Right. It's like your one neighbor you have is the same neighbor that you are trying to expand into and constantly either at war with or preparing to be at war with.
Right. And there's populations of yours, quote
exactly,
unquote, yours, literally still there.
Exactly. Like
some of whom want to stay peaceful, and some of whom are probably riled up.
Yeah, it's all types of crazy. Like there's more Greeks at the start of that. There were more Greeks outside of the Greek state than within the Greek state, right? So it's a difficult time, you know. Greece expanded a little more via diplomatic means. It's able to secure a small bit of Thessaly in southern Epirus in 1881 following the Congress of Berlin, and some threats of war from Greece and that kind of stuff also help in acquiring those lands. It's also around this time when Bulgarian and Greek rivalries start to emerge or reemerge. If you want to go way back to the time of Byzantines, Basil II, it's like the Bulgar Slayer and whatever, and that whole guy.
I'm Basil the First.
What was that?
I'm Basil the First.
You're Basil the First. You're not like what do you call it? Blinding people. That was the thing with the Bulgar Slayer, right? He blinded. So the story goes, he blinded 10,000 Bulgarians.
Not
You're not
me.
into
I'm
that
just
kind of
blinding
thing.
myself with my phone.
That's good. That's the best kind of blinding. So in 1870, the Ottoman government formally recognized a Bulgarian exarchate. And 2 years later, the ecumenical patriarch, like the big dog in Constantinople, let's say, or the first among equals, excommunicated the followers of this new Bulgarian church. So they're now practically heretics, according to the Greek Orthodox hierarchy in church. Totally leads to peaceful coexistence, right?
Totally.
And cooperation between Bulgarians and Greeks. And that's it for today, everyone. Please join us next time as we continue on with this primer on the royals and move into the transformative period of the late 1800s and the early 1900s. Take care.
Take care.